Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're looking at something absolutely delightfully unusual. We're stepping totally away from your traditional concrete and steel, and instead we're exploring a whimsical, edible masterpiece. Think of it kind of like Architectural Digest, but specifically the snack edition. So let's dive right into this. What exactly happens when the totally mundane ritual of snack time collides with the meticulous eye of an interior designer? I mean, usually we just eat our food and move on, right? But every now and then, someone looks at a basic pantry staple and actually sees building materials. In this explainer, we're going to apply some serious visual forensics to a very playful subject, and we'll analyze it with the exact same rigor we'd use for a modern architectural marvel. Just take a moment to really look at this. Before we begin our anatomical deconstruction, I just want you to marvel at the complete dining room setup we have right here. It's literally an entire miniature dining set crafted exclusively from different varieties of crackers. I know, at first glance, it just brings a smile to your face. But as you look closer, the sheer level of intentionality, the precise stacking, and the incredible spatial awareness, it all starts to emerge. This isn't just a pile of crumbs, folks. It's a fully realized domestic space. All right, moving into section 1, engineering the cracker chairs, structural integrity in snacking. Starting our macro to micro journey with the seating arrangements, what's really interesting here is the perfect, deliberate symmetry of the 4 chairs positioned around that central table. The architect behind the snack hasn't just haphazardly thrown these together. No, they are spaced evenly, facing perfectly inward to create this intimate, conversational dining layout. It completely mimics human social spaces. And let me tell you, achieving this kind of uniform spacing with fragile, crumbly baked goods is absolutely no small feat. Let's break down the specific architectural components of a single chair, because it is an absolute masterclass in repurposed materials. Down at the bottom, we have this dense, cubic base, looks almost like a wafer or maybe a stack of thicker crackers, which provides absolute foundational stability. Resting directly on that is the flat, horizontal seat extending perfectly to the edges. But man, the pièce de résistance is that vertical backrest. If you actually count them, there are exactly 13 distinct ventilation holes baked right into the material. Originally, those were just meant to let steam escape during baking, but here, they act as brilliant design accents. It almost looks like tufted upholstery. Now, imagine the hypothetical engineering steps required to actually construct this without completely shattering the delicate materials. Step 1, positioning that load-bearing cubic base. Step 2 involves carefully, and I mean very carefully, balancing the flat seat cracker squarely on top, ensuring the center of gravity is dead center. But Step 3 is the real trick. Securing that vertical backrest, gravity absolutely wants to pull that backrest right off. So we've got to assume there is some sort of unseen edible mortar at work here. We're talking maybe a tiny dab of peanut butter, a strategic smudge of cream cheese, or perhaps some structural icing holding that joint in perfect tension. Which brings us to section 2, the round table centerpiece, geometry and embossing. Now that we've got a good handle on the seating, we're going to shift our focus inward to the absolute focal point of this miniature room. And this brilliantly illustrates the visual tension the artist has managed to create. We've got a really stark geometric contrast going on here. On the left side of our visual equation, we have the chairs, which are defined by this sharp, almost brutalist 90-degree cubic geometry. But then on the right side, countering that sharpness, is the table, a completely smooth, perfectly circular geometry. It beautifully softens the entire composition and immediately draws your eye right to the center. Let's zoom in a bit on that tabletop. Notice the intricate embossing right there in the center. There's a distinct, highly detailed wheat stock design stamped directly into the cracker. You know, in a real dining room, a homeowner might drop thousands of dollars for a custom-carved mahogany centerpiece or a beautifully inlaid wooden table, but here, the artist has cleverly leveraged the pre-existing commercial stamp of the cracker to serve as high-end, miniature decorative art. It is just incredibly clever. But just looking at this, a serious structural engineering question immediately pops up, right? How exactly does a wide, round cracker balanced securely on a completely different geometric base? You've got this large circular plane sitting on what appears to be an incredibly narrow foundation. Well, the answer lies underneath. Take a look right below the table surface. We can see vertical cracker pieces forming a cross or a central column. This isn't just 4 individual legs on the corners. No, it's a strategically placed central load-bearing pillar.
By actually placing these square crackers vertically, the constructor maximizes their rigid strength, basically ensuring that the heavy, round tabletop doesn't just snap or tilt over. It's literally a foundational technique used in actual column and slab architecture. Let's move to Section 3, Setting and Presentation. Curating the display. Let's zoom out from the furniture itself to analyze the broader environment, because, as we know, context is absolutely everything in design. Our little cracker dining set doesn't just sit on a raw, messy kitchen counter. It is deliberately staged on this elegant white plate. Just look at the delicate gray florals scrolling along the edge there. In the context of our miniature room, that plate acts as a curated floor. And the floral pattern? Well, it serves the visual purpose of an ornate, circular area rug tying the whole room together. Furthermore, you really have to notice the lighting and the backdrop. We've got gorgeous natural light pouring in from the nearby window, which casts these authentic, soft shadows across the cracker seats. And in the background, out the window, we get this nice, soft focus view of green grass. This specific framing, the natural lighting, the view to the outside world, all of it entirely elevates this from, a random pantry experiment into a genuine, deliberate piece of art. It sets a mood. It practically invites you to sit down. And finally, Section 4. Food as miniature architecture, the final analysis. So, we've looked at the engineering, the geometry, and the presentation. The crucial point to take away from all this is really understanding the concept of edible architecture. This is the whimsical yet entirely structurally sound practice of using food materials to engineer miniature representations of furniture, buildings, or spaces. And what makes it so captivating is that it requires a real understanding of the physical limits of the food, like how much weight a cracker can bear or how to balance a crumbly surface, combined with the imaginative vision to actually see a dining chair hiding inside a snack box. It perfectly bridges the gap between our basic need for sustenance and our high-level human desire to create and organize spaces. Which leaves us with one final, very important question to ponder. This is a meticulously crafted, perfectly balanced, and beautifully lit architectural triumph. But at the end of the day, its medium is a handful of crackers. So is a masterpiece truly finished if its ultimate destiny is to be eaten? Does its temporary edible nature actually make the art more valuable? Or is the real tragedy of this beautiful room that it'll probably be destroyed by a sudden craving for a salty snack? It's the ultimate lesson in ephemeral art. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive in the Explainer. Until next time, keep looking closely at the world around you. You never know where you'll find your next architectural inspiration.